Hi there, I'm Kristen Cheek, the Children's Director here at Liberty Hill Church. If you're new and have young children, we just wanted to let you know that in addition to our main service, we provide a nursing mother's room and a vibrant nursery and children's ministry program for babies 6 weeks all the way to the 5th grade. While we would love for all kids to join me in the kids ministry, I understand that might take time for them to get comfortable coming up. We love having children in our service, but we understand that sometimes little ones can get a little restless and need extra attention. That's why we're thrilled to introduce our new connection room. This is a cozy space where you can take your kids if they need a break during the service. This dedicated space is designed for both you and your little ones. You can stay connected to the service through our live stream while attending to your child's need. We want every family member of our church to feel at ease and included when it comes to the worship, and the connection room is just one way we're working towards that goal. So feel free to utilize the space if your child needs a moment of comfort. In addition to Sundays, we also have a great Awana program on Wednesday nights starting at 6:30 p.m. We would love for you to join us. Any questions, feel free to ask me or any of the staff. Thank you.
Hey Liberty Hill Church family, I just want to update you about a few things that are coming up in the days ahead. The first is that this Sunday is our Make Known Sunday, and we're excited about this opportunity to continue to unpack the mission of our church, to know, be known by, and make known the real Jesus. We're going to put some tools in your hand and give you some resources to be able to do just that, to make Jesus known in this community. We're also going to share a meal together, and we just ask that everybody bring a dessert to share, and you guys do not want to miss out on this opportunity to connect with us this Sunday. The next two things is that on Sunday, September the 15th, we're having our child dedication service, which is a great time if you've not dedicated your child to the Lord before the body of Christ here at Liberty Hill to sign up and take part in that as we come alongside your family and support you and celebrate the fact that you are committing to raise your child in a way that honors the Lord. You can sign up for that through our Church Center app, or come see me or Kristen as well. Our last thing is that Growth Track is the last 2 Sundays of the month of September, and to sign up for that, you can also go to our Church Center app, where you can see myself or Pastor David, and we will make sure that you get signed up. But Growth Track's all about who we are at Liberty Hill and how you fit into the mission of what we're trying to do. So church, don't miss these opportunities to connect to what's happening here at Liberty Hill.
This Sunday is our big Make Known Sunday. We want you to bring yourself and bring anybody else that you can drag with you. It's going to be a good time. We're going to, we've been in a series, started Sunday about know and be known. And then this Sunday, we're going to finish that up with the Make Known. And Cody, I'm sure, especially after a week off, is going to be loaded. And he's going to preach about making known the real Jesus. And then we're going to have a little get together after church. There's going to be food. If you signed up for a t-shirt, we've got a t-shirt for you. And make sure you're here Sunday, and bring people. Please bring people with you. This is going to be an evangelistic service. And if you know people that doesn't know Jesus as their Savior, please bring them. It's going to be a good week, and you may be the reason that person goes to heaven. And that would be pretty cool. Child dedication. It's September the 15th. Speaking of babies, if your child hasn't, if you've never dedicated your child to God, September the 15th, we're going to do that. And you need to see Kristen or see Mason, either one, or you can sign up online through the Church Center app. And we want to make sure that these kids are, basically all child dedication is you bring these little ones up here, and the entire church agrees to help you raise them and to pray for them, and we're going to give them back to God to have Him do with them whatever He wants. And then there's Growth Track is coming up on the 22nd and the 29th of September. If you haven't been through Growth Track, this is your opportunity. It's a simulation. This is our assimilation platform that we use to introduce you to our church, how you can become involved. We tell you about the government of the church, who Pastor answers to. and what happens to your money when you put it in that plate and all that kind of stuff. We're going to talk about everything. And any questions you have, we're going to answer them. That's going to be on the first week, on the 22nd. And then on the September the 29th, we're going to give you a spiritual gifts test and a personality test so we can figure out what makes you tick. Now, that's for you. That's for you to learn what makes you tick. Funny thing, it always happens whenever we give somebody a spiritual gifts test. The spiritual gifts that they're highest in are the things that they like to do. What about that? I used to be scared to, when I was a kid, I was kind of afraid to really sell out to Jesus because I was afraid he was going to make me go to Africa. But I learned since then that if you go to Africa, you're called to go to Africa, and you won't mind a bit. That and, well, I won't get into that. No, I better not. I was going to say there was some reasons why I didn't want the rapture to come all of a sudden, but we won't get into that. We're going to be in our third week here of a message series on Elisha. Now, y'all remember week 1? What was it about? I'm talking about Elisha, the first Elisha. Yep, we burned some plows, remember? We burned some plows. And then last week, anybody remember that? We dug some ditches. And in this week, we're going to grab some jars, and we're going to talk about, well, I can't find him. Let me look this up in my Bible because I'm going to read it on one page and read the word on the other page. We're going to 2 Kings, by the way. Today, I hope this message ministers to many of you. I hope it ministers to everyone. I think everyone has been in this spot or will be. There's certain, they say that there's, when it comes to valleys and storms and all that, you're either in one, coming out of one, or about to go into one, because that's life. Jesus promised us that in this life you will have trouble, and or in this world you will have trouble. But he said, "Don't worry, I've overcome the world." I believe it's going to speak to those of you who feel overwhelmed, and if you feel like there's too much going on in your life, then like you're in need right now, then if you feel like you don't have enough energy, if you feel like there's not enough time, then some of you may even feel like you're low on your faith. We all go through seasons like that, and there's been many, many seasons where I didn't feel like my prayers were leaving the room. They were just bouncing off the ceiling. One time I remember in particular, it lasted a long time, and I don't know if this is biblical. It's probably not biblical, but I was desperate. You got to understand. And I was reading the word where Peter got released from prison and went to the house of the people who were praying for him to be released from prison, and they didn't believe that he was at the door, even though they were praying for it. And a little girl went to the door and she says, "Peter out there." And they said, "No, it ain't. We're praying for him. Shut up." And they kept on praying for him. But they said that they thought that it might have been his angel, which is where we get the idea that that we all have a guardian angel. So I thought, if Peter had an angel, and God's no respecter of persons, that means I've got an angel. So I said, "Angel, go tell him. If he won't listen to me, go tell him." Like I said, I'm not saying this is biblical. I was just desperate. I said, "Tell him that if he never does another thing for me, he's already done enough." And it broke something off of me. But you can get into some spots, boy, where you just feel spiritually dead. And maybe we'll talk about that a little bit tonight. But if you find yourself today on empty, and you feel like there's just too much in one area of your life or another, it's my prayer that God would use this story to minister to you in a deep and life-changing way. So let's dive into our text. We're going to start with the first two verses of 2 Kings 4. And it says, "One day the widow of a member of the group of prophets came to Elisha and cried out, 'My husband who served you is dead. And you know how he feared the Lord. But now a creditor has come, threatening to take my 2 sons as slaves.'" And then Elisha asked a weird question. He said, what can I do to help you? Tell me, what do you have in the house? Nothing at all, except a flask of olive oil. And she replied. Now, let's, here's how the story starts. The wife of a man from the company of prophets, there was a school of prophets, if you will, that Elijah had started back in the day. And one of them came to Elisha, and they said, your servant, and the woman, the wife came out and said that your servant, my husband, is dead, and you know that he revered the Lord. And now this creditor's come in that culture. If you didn't pay your bills, then they would come and enslave your children or enslave whoever they could, and they would keep you enslaved until the year of Jubilee to pay your debt back. But Elisha replies to her, how can I help you? Tell me, what do you have in the house? Your servant has nothing except for a small jar of olive oil. Now let's talk about these two verses because there's really a lot in them. When the first thing you're going to notice is we don't know her name. This woman's name was never called. We don't know who she is. I told you what happens when you don't pay your bills, and according to a lot of people, and it comes from Jewish tradition, but a lot of people believe it, that she was actually the wife of the prophet Obadiah. And if this is the case, then it'll make sense that she doesn't have anything. Because Obadiah was probably lived his whole life in financial need because he took care of 50 prophets, providing for them and taking care of them. So I'm sure that he spent everything he had supporting these 50 prophets. So if indeed it was Obadiah's wife, it would have taken all the resources that Obadiah had accumulated, everything that she had accumulated, and quite honestly, it wouldn't have been uncommon for a prophet's family to be financially struggling because they spent the majority of their lives running from people who were trying to kill them. So this woman's in a bad spot. So if you can picture this, we've got this widow, and I'm going to guess that she was probably in her 30s. According to one thing I read, and she's just lost her husband, and she's got no chance at meaningful employment because in this culture, women were unemployable unless they wanted to take a job that no woman wants to take and get into the world's oldest profession there. But so she's really in a devastating place. She's lost her husband, and now the creditor's coming after her two sons. And humanly speaking, she has no hope whatsoever. So she's lost her husband, can't pay her bills. Now she's going to lose her sons. Don't get any worse than this. But it's amazing how riled up that I can get about things that aren't a big deal. Now, she had a big deal going on here. But do y'all get riled up about things that's just not a big deal? I mean, you get really riled up because the GPS took you to the wrong place. I mean, this is an entry-level problem. You know what I'm saying? If you're in a restaurant, you're devastated because they put too much goat cheese on your salad. That's a entry-level problem. If you didn't get enough likes on your latest selfie on Instagram, and nobody said hashtag you're so beautiful, I can't hardly stand it. You know how y'all girls are. That is an entry-level problem. And then you start wondering, what'd I do wrong? Maybe I should have done a duck face or something like that, And it's just an entry-level problem. But the reality is that a lot of people, and there could be some people in here, you got some graduate-level problems. Your marriage is barely hanging on. That's a graduate level problem. You don't know if you're going to make it. Somebody that you love has betrayed you and lied to you, and all the pain that causes. This is a graduate level problem. You got a child that the kids ain't acting right. That's a graduate level problem. You've watched people destroy their lives, and now you're watching your own kids do the same thing, and you can't seem to stop them. That's I've been there, and that's a hard thing to do. Some of you may be in a financial situation, and you don't know how you're going to get out of it. and there's all this stress. Y'all have been there. I know that feeling when you're laying there at night and the ceiling feels like it's coming down on top of you, and you feel like you got an elephant laying on top of you and you can't breathe because you can't. That's a bad feeling when you can't pay your bills. And some of you have a health issue. I've been there. Where you don't know if you're going to make it or not, and you know, doctors and other people are saying things you don't want them to say. Just don't even, you know, you and your wife's having, you know, y'all know what I'm talking about. You having conversations you don't like to have. Those are bad conversations for a husband and wife to have, and you need a miracle from God. I've been there, and those are graduate level problems, and you know, you're afraid you're going to end up experiencing the very thing you wished would never happen. You've got a graduate level problem. When you don't have what you really want, then you'll discover that God is really all you need. Boy, you got to go through some stuff to get there. Most of us do. It'd be so easy if I just listened to my daddy when I was little and learned all this stuff and just avoided all these problems. But, you know, I guess we all got to go our own way and learn our own lessons. But this lady here, this woman, she's in a lot of need, and she expresses her need to the prophet. And so what does the prophet do? Well, first let's talk about what the prophet does not do. He does not say, oh man, that's a bad problem. You know, he didn't say, sucks to be you. You know, he don't blow her off. He don't say, oh, that's bad. I'll be thinking about you. Don't you hate that? Somebody say, I'll be thinking about it. I know what they mean, but don't tell me you'll be thinking about me. Pray for me. Do something significant. Don't just think about me. And, you know, Elisha replied to her, and what did he say? He said, how can I help you? And those are 5 powerful words. You make all the difference in the world. You want to be filled with joy? You start every day saying, God, I'm available for your whatever you want to do. I'm available. He said, what do you want me to do for you? And he was just making himself available. He was just saying, hey, I'm here to help you if I can. What do you need? And, you know, when somebody in the office or somebody wherever you work says, I've got a problem, or I've got migraine headaches, or my husband's driving me crazy, or my kids are going off the deep end, what you say is, how can I help you? What can I do to help you? I'm not going to just think about you.